Boyz.
Welcome back to the next part of this Truth and Rhythm episode. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. If you've already done so, please share it with friends. Also become a member by joining Truth and Rhythm on Patreon, or consider donating at funkandstuff.net. Thank you so much for your interest and support. Enjoy.
Well, can you share with us what are a couple of memories from the studio that really stand out from the 80s for you? Maybe two or three, real highlights or thrills or funny things or whatever.
Okay, man. It's a lot of stuff, man, but let me see. Let's go to 1987, The Bad album with Michael Jackson. But of course, here I am. It's 87. You and I are 26 years old at that time, right? We're 26. So, and I'm still, to receive a call. And this was our Ollie Brown hookup. Keep in mind, now this is after that first Tease album, but Ollie was another one who stayed with me and kept me in his fold. And Ollie pulled me in on a lot of great opportunities, that he had that connection to. He got me tied in. He introduced me to Quincy Jones and got me tied in the Quincy Jones camp and the Michael Jackson camp and all that. So the one thing that really, really comes to my mind with that was, okay, keep in mind, I'm the new guy, right? Everybody else in the studio is superstar musicians. You got Greg Fillinganes, you got Michael Boddicker, you got who else? John Robinson. You got superstar guys and me. So I'm feeling very starstruck, but I can't come off.
Gotta be cool.
I gotta be cool, and I gotta act like I'm not starstruck. And then you gotta keep in mind, that's Quincy Jones sitting right there 6 feet away from me. So it's like, man, I'm gonna go commit suicide, man. This is too unreal. It's too much for one dude. I can't handle it. But the weird part about it was Michael. We were in studio maybe 4 or 5 days in this 1 week. Michael never once came into the control room, right? Like he wouldn't come. He was upstairs in a loft at Westlake Audio, and he would never actually come into the control room where everybody else was working. What he would instead do was he hung out in this upstairs loft. If he had any question about anything, he'd come to the opening of the loft and he'd yell down, "Quincy!" Right? And Quincy would be like, "Okay, let's take a break, guys. I'll be right back." And he'll run upstairs, talk to Michael, and then he'll come back. "Okay, guys, let's get back." And so this went on for like the first couple days. And I was like, this is kind of weird, it's kind of weird. Like, bro, I'm the only new guy. I'm the only guy you probably don't already know. Why are you not involving yourself in what's going on? So days 3 and 4 go by, same thing, except on one of the days, Michael, we were listening to playback, right? We'd done a take and we were listening and, it was up loud. And Michael, what he had done was he came down, and what he did was he was in the back, but he was like hiding behind the wall, just kind of hiding. And then I kind of turned around and I saw him come and he was peeking around the wall. As I turned around and I saw him, and when our eyes met, he just stuck back behind the wall, like to try to hide from me again. I'm like, wait a minute, bro, what is wrong with this? Anybody, what's wrong with this dude? Why does he keep doing that? I saw you, Michael. He's right there. What is wrong with this dude, man? Why are you doing this, man? That's enough. I can't take it no more. Bro, get your ass in here. Why are you ducking and peeking and hiding and doing all this, man? What is wrong with this dude? You know, and why ain't nobody else saying anything? So, you know, that happened. So then we got to the very final day. I think day 5. This was an entirely different atmosphere. One thing, there were HBO had came down and they were doing a documentary. They were filming for our documentary. So there were camera people and crews, and they were literally shooting. We had 2 rooms going. I was working on one side, Paul Jackson working on another side. You know, which was a real cool day too, because you got, you know, me and Paul been friends since elementary school. So you got me and Paul Jackson side by side working for Michael Jackson. You know, so that was a really cool day for me and Paul. So now, the atmosphere is totally different because of I would say the HBO people and the crews and stuff. So they're filming and got all that going on. And then also there were kids that were in the studio that day. It was like Quincy Jones, his grandkids were there. Greg Fillinganes had 2 or 3 of his kids were there. So there might have been about 5 or 6 like kids, like 12 and under, you know, that were in the studio, and a few animals. You know, I think Michael's snake was there, and Bubbles the chimpanzee was there, and Bruce Swedian, the engineer, had a big mastiff like dog. You know, so it was just like a zoo and a park and like a whole different atmosphere this particular day. And all that hiding that Michael was doing, he totally stopped. He was like totally involved. You know, he was all over the studio. He was, you know, I mean, literally talking to me, and we were working on Speed Demons that particular day. This is the day I did drum programming on Speed Demons. So, and it was banging. I had that shit banging so hard, you know. And so we were listening, and this would be the first day that he literally would come in and literally communicate, and we talked, and you know, he, you know, expressed his appreciation. And you know, him and the kids are running around and they're wrestling and they're playing, and he's as big a kid as the rest of the kids, you know. So that's one of the real definite memories of the 80s studio experience, you know, was that. And then the rest of them, man, there was so many through the 80s, so many different projects, man, you know, and we were getting started. You know, there was our whole stint with Solar Records. We did a lot of recording with Solar Records in the 80s, 1982, 83, 84. And then I connected with Bernadette Cooper, and she and I ended up in a partnership. And, you know, we had a couple of hit records that we did together.
Madam X, right?
Madam X, yeah, Madam X, and Bernadette's solo record. And, you know, so, you know, it was a lot of situations, and it's hard to pinpoint, you know, those things. You know, I would almost have to move into the 90s. You know?
Let me just throw a couple of people at you, and you tell me if anything comes to mind about their talent or the process that you went through with them. How's that?
Sure, absolutely.
Well, Vanessa Williams actually brought you back with Kipper, right?
Yeah, that was all through Kipper and Rex Salas.
So you patched things up from the Tease thing,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we ended up, because again, after post Tease for me, after 1986, it was almost like things really started to take off. Things really started to take off for me individually. But keep in mind, Kipper Jones is my brother, and life without him is weird. Life is not, you know, without the Organ Brothers, without Chucky, without Rex. It's weird. Now I'm moving this way and those dudes are moving that way. And it was kind of, 87, 88, 89 were, tough years. It was like, wow, I'm happy, but I'm not happy. I miss my guys. And, you got to keep in mind, me and Kipper have been connected since 1976. So now life without him is weird. So 88 comes around. And then, and that same thing that I was trying to do early, like go out and find a gig and find some things to kind of, now these guys are now seeing like, we got to, this club, this Tease club, we're going to have to kind of disband and go out and make some money. And so Kipper went out and got his record deal with Virgin. Kipper got, after they did the Tease records, he got his solo deal. And he ended up basically reaching out to me. And he pulled the Organ Brothers and Chucky, the band. So we basically reunited to do Kipper's album, which really, in retrospect, was all we all had to do. It didn't mean we didn't love or care for each other, but we could have. I look at it now and say we could have made some great connections for the band. There's no telling what we could have done if we weren't so like it's like the crabs in a barrel. One guy starts to make it out, and then the rest of the crabs pull him back down. So
I thought there were some nice moments on his record.
There was some definitely nice moments, definitely nice moments. And that was kind of like, that brought us back together and me back into the fold. And by that time, I was okay with what had happened and the way I felt they did me, because I thought they did me dirty in 1986. But I got over it, and so we connected and we did Kipper's album. And then sure enough, same thing would happen in 89 when Chucky Booker signed his deal with Atlantic. And he did the same thing. He brought the guys back together. So again, it's me, Derek, Tommy, Rex, Chucky, so by that time we had, it was like we were back good. But it didn't stay that way. Crossover into the 90s and it got back weird again. I was like, wow. I thought we were cool, and man, we got it took a super weird turn right after we crossed over into the 90s. That thing, man.
Did the way the record label structure was changing affect it at all? Was the business affecting those relationships at all?
You know what? I wouldn't say the business and the way business, began to change, and I don't think that's what it was that really caused what happened to us to happen to us. No, I think it was individuals and just time and timing and situations. Like as I was saying about me being brought back into connection with those guys in the late 80s. By the time Chucky's record and Chucky's thing really jumped out big, Chucky had had a number one single, with Turned Away. And so, it was such a high musicality on his album. It was a dope album. And it was Tease. Chucky Booker's first album is just like what Tease would have been, at that time. So, of course, it was a natural thing. He called me to musical direct him. Like I was his musical director because he started getting television and tour dates. And when it was all said and done, he was actually the opening act for Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation tour. And this is where it got weird again, because Chucky and Rex called me from Janet, a party to say, look, Corny, we're here at Janet Jackson's, with Janet, and Janet just asked me to open her tour. So we're going to go on tour with Janet Jackson. We're going to be the opening act. And that includes Corny Mims. So, hey, man, I'm super excited, man. Let's get ready. Let's start getting prepped and start breaking Janet's stuff down, and let's get the Chucky show together, and let's get ready to go on the road. And somehow, some way, I got just ixnayed and X'd out of the equation. And the rest of it, Chucky, Derek, Tommy, Rex, all of those guys ended up being her band. And then they slid another bass player in. And just like really just with no explanation as to why I was the guy that they chose to X out. I didn't do anything to anybody. I thought we were good. So that really, really, you know, I was pretty emotionally affected by that. You know, that was like weird. I was like, wow, man, you know, how is, you know, what the fuck?
That's ironic. After almost 10 years earlier, you had turned away those other tours,
right,
on your side, you know?
Right. And then I get this one, and I'm down. I'm going. There's no way I'm going to quit. And then I get Ixnay. I mean, just weird. You know, nobody had any real explanation. These guys, and you know, these guys, like I say, Rex and I have been buddies. Just like Rex and I were friends even before me and Kipper. You know, I knew Rex Salas even before me and Kipper met in the 10th grade. So it's like, you know, guys, I mean, I can't get no kind of explanation as to why this went down the way it went down. And I actually have a lawsuit, you know, if I were to pursue it. I was told. But anyway, so
that was unfortunate for sure. You kept rolling with, you know, Grover Washington Jr. and Paul Jackson stuff and Snoop Dogg a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like working with Grover?
You know what, Grover, that was just a session. That was just a session. You know, it was a great experience to work with him. You know, it was just like a kind of a one-off recording session that I did for him. But it did lead to something very, very cool for me. There was another young sax player that was coming out in the early 80s. And I would really honestly say that smooth jazz, the genre known as smooth jazz, really began with this dude. It was even before Kenny G. And this brother's name was George Howard. Mm-hmm. George Howard. Now, Grover Washington is, of course, legendary out of Philadelphia. And that's where George Howard also hailed from.
Also a soprano player too, soprano sax.
Yeah. So George Howard, I ended up connecting with George through my association with Grover. And that went on, and that was another one. Actually, that was the gig that I did that got me kicked out of Tease. What happened was like George Howard started to take off in the mid-80s. You know, like I say, this is the very embryonic days of smooth jazz. So that soprano sax, you know, kind of with a little, it's almost like instrumental R&B. So so George Howard was really starting to stack up a lot of work and gain a lot of notoriety. And that was a gig that I gotten called for while I was still a member of Tease. And I had to go to do a week-long engagement with him in Washington, D.C. 1 week, not a tour, just 1 week. But now the problem was we also had a gig in town in Los Angeles with Tease where we'd all be making about $9 a man. After, you know, I think we'd be making somewhere around $9-10 a guy.
Oh, but $9 went so far then.
Oh yeah, this is 1985. Yeah, it did go a lot further than it would go today.
It's like 20 back then.
But now get a load of this. I was going to go to DC for a week with George Howard and make like $1,300. So I had to say $9, $1,300. I went with the $1,300 for the week, and then I came home and oh man, it was we had to have an immediate meeting. I went straight from the airport to a meeting with Kipper and the guys, and of course that's when they told me you know, after I'd made those other sacrifices, after I missed out on the Marvin Gaye forum, after I missed out on the Patrice Rushen, I even missed out on Jeff Lorber. That was another gig that I passed on for Tease, was the Jeff Lorber tour. You know, So anyway, and then you know I go out for 1 week with George Howard, come back, and I'm fired. You're gone. So, but you know, hey man, it all works out in the big picture.
You mentioned, well, what were some of the tours in the 90s that were notable?
Yeah, you know what? Johnny Gill, you know, and it was amazing. Like I worked with Johnny Gill in 83, he was about 12 years old. Literally, because I went through a period like in those early 80s. These were my first recordings, right? My first, first professional recordings. It was a producer by the name of Freddie Perrin. And Freddie was a huge dude. He came off of Saturday Night Fever success, and he had done a lot of records for Motown, and that he'd written and produced. So Freddie was a huge producer who gave me my first, session breaks. So I worked with Johnny Gill in 83 with Freddie Perrin. And then sure enough, by 91, now Johnny's a big star, and he's a young adult. He's a young man and he's a big star. So I ended up touring with Johnny in 81, so that was the first tour of the 90s. After Johnny, man,
a lot of screaming women
everywhere, man. Yeah. Cause he had them going. So, it was Johnny Gill, and then 92, I took over In Vogue as their musical director, bass player. So, and they were hot at the time, the Funky Divas tour I did in 94. I ended up hooking up with Brandy, so I became her musical director / bass player. So Brandy, I was floating between Brandy and a group called All for One.
Was Brandy another Ollie hookup?
No. Brandy came by way of, firstly, keep in mind, Kipper wrote her first hit records.
That's right.
Yeah, Kipper was the writer of her stuff. So he co-wrote that with a young brother named Keith Crouch. So Kipper and Keith were like a partnership at that time. So and then Keith was also another kid that I had taken under my wing. So they had the association through the record. So
wasn't he was related to Andre Crouch?
Yep, nephew. Yeah, there's the Crouch brother. There's Keith and Kenneth Crouch. Both of them monstrosities of music minds, both of them. And they are both the nephews of Andre Crouch. Yeah, so Brandy came by way of just the association to Kipper and the Crouch brothers. And she had started off her initial very, very beginning tour experience, and then she wasn't happy with the band. So I ended up getting a call to come in, and this is in 94. So so I took off and did Brandy, and I did All for One. That was all during the years of 94 and 95. I stayed with Brandy off and on until around 2001. But even in that, I ended up doing a really awesome tour. No, let's see. Let me try to stay chronological. 97, I did a European run with Snoop Dogg. That was great. I put a band together for Snoop. Also, I did Tito Jackson. Tito Jackson back in the 90s, his sons were massive in Europe. They had a group called 3T. And it was Tito Jackson's sons. And I never understood. I didn't know. This is where I learned that, when they say it's a small world, no, it ain't. The world is massive, and you can really blow up in other places besides the United States.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to depend on the United States to make your money and to amass, fame. Because when we got over to Europe with 3T, I'd never seen anything like this in my entire life. I'm talking about, you would have thought we were the Beatles. I've never, we were getting chased through airports all the time. We get to our airport and look at this, man. This is so crazy. I'm looking at my phone. I don't know if you can see that, but that says K Crouch.
Wow, yours are ringing.
Yeah. It's Kenneth Crouch. There's a message, Kenneth Crouch, on my phone right now.
Wow.
Yeah, but so yeah, we were running through airports and getting mobbed and all that stuff with because at that time, and even to this day, if you have any association to Michael Jackson in Europe, you're huge. You can be Michael Jackson's Labrador Retriever. and you're huge. So those boys were big. So that was a great tour back in the mid '90s. And Snoop Dogg, I went right back over with Snoop after 3T and did Europe with Snoop. And so the tour life was very rich through the '90s. You know, it was tour, it was television, and it was a lot of studio and production. You know, the '90s was a very, very rich era or decade.
What was it like for you making the move to working with some hip hop artists? You know, how did your playing? You probably just needed to maybe even simplify your playing more for that, I'm guessing, but just holding down that groove.
Yeah, but it was not even really that much of a transition because simplified is what I am. You know, I'm always going to be simplified. So I didn't really have to change my mindset or my approach much for hip hop. You know, again, it just kind of was a no-brainer. You know, I started working with really I got a real heavy dose of hip hop work by way of DJ Quik. DJ Quik, who was a super dope hip hop artist, you know, one of my favorites even to this day. You know, but the thing is, DJ Quik is also a prolific music mind. He's a real music dude. He's not just a rap mind. He's very much, you know, technical, very musical, knows what he wants, knows what he's doing. So he and I were a serious match when we connected, you know, to actually, you know, get in there and create and make music. So my approach was, and you know, he's a very old school minded guy as well. So, you know, and a lot of times, you know, I was just recreating samples and loops, you know, he just had me play the line again. So since, you know, a lot of those things were from the era I came up in anyway, it was nothing to recreate it, you know, for me. And
seems like you could even make some suggestions to those guys because you have that history and that wealth of riffs.
Yeah, especially as time went along. And, you know, I mean, after DJ Quik and then, you know, from the DJ Quik, we ended up connecting with the Death Row camp by 96, 95, actually. You know, by 95, you know, DJ Quik ended up connecting with Death Row and Suge Knight. He brought myself and Rick Rouse and Warren Campbell, a few of us, you know, that were part of the DJ Quik camp. He brought us into the Death Row with him. So all of a sudden, Death Row gets their first taste of recordings with live musicians, with actual real players instead of sampling and you know, and having to clear samples. All of a sudden, all we got to do is get these guys to replay it, and then we ain't got to clear a sample no more. You know, if we like it. So sure enough, that entire label just lost their minds because we got these on-staff guys that can play anything. And it sounds just like the original, if not better. And so many of the things, and it takes the need to clear sample and pay sample clearances out of the equation. Mm-hmm. So we became a real commodity for Death Row. You know, and so the Tupac All Eyes on Me album, you know, was really, you know, by this time DJ Quik had left, but they made the pot so sweet for us as that musician core until we stayed. I stayed, and I kind of became kind of like the MD for Death Row. You know, for the sessions, you know, whatever they needed as far as live musicians, I'd get the call and then I'd hook up, you know, the keyboard players or the drummers or the horn players, whatever they were going for. You know, I was kind of like the guy. And even on live gigs, you know, I ended up doing Snoop. I ended up putting Tupac's band together. You know, we went and did Saturday Night Live. And those were like really funky situations, man, both of them. I was really happy with the outcome of the Tupac Saturday Night Live performance. I mean, I liked the band. I didn't like Tupac. You know, I didn't care for his performance. But I loved the band.
Yeah.
And then same thing with Snoop, but I love Snoop was dope too. You know, very, very different scenario between Tupac and Snoop Dogg as far as just individuals.
Well, I always liked Snoop's flow better too, just his whole persona and attitude, and most of his music too.
Absolutely.
But you know, just like you, I mean, coming out of the same era and being in the funk, it was just a natural progression to gravitate towards hip hop then, you know, that was embracing and using funk for its foundation.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you know, starting early on, you know, I'm talking about the very beginning stages of hip hop in the 80s. You know, a lot of the records were they were funk records. You know, I mean, a lot of the stuff, you know, when you listen to like some of the Grandmaster Flash stuff, that stuff is straight funk.
Oh yeah, The Message and New York.
New York. Come on now, those are the ones. That's funk. You know, especially New York. That thing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know? And then yeah, so much.
Doug Wimbush, right?
Oh yes, man.
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait. When we finish this interview, I gotta pull New York up because I haven't heard it in a long time.
Oh, it slams.
It's killing. You know, but yeah, straight funk, man.
You did something with Phil Collins I have on here?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
What was that about?
That was a cool situation, man. It came by way of Babyface. I started doing sessions. They started calling me to start doing recording sessions for them, and this was the late 90s. And I did a series of different projects that Face produced, and one of them being a remake of the Cyndi Lauper song "True Colors" that Babyface produced on him. So got a chance to go over and just play True Colors, man, for Phil. You know, and I mean that was another one. I walked in the studio. This was Face had a spot over on Melrose and Highland at that time called Brandon's Way, and as soon as I walked in, man, I mean, I didn't know who the session was for when I got there, but I mean, I was like, man, hold up, wait a minute, man. You know, another starstruck situation. You know what I'm saying? You know, when you just get stopped in your tracks because, bro, oh no, wait a minute, man. Let me go out and come back in because I know this is not Phil Collins. This can't be Phil Collins, man. Stop it. Yeah, but yeah, it was, man. Nice dude. And it was funny, man, because at the same time, I was doing a TV show at the time. Back in the late 90s called Vibe. It was a late night show. It was
Quincy Jones production company.
Quincy Jones production, yeah, and we did Vibe. So I was in the house band. So and myself and Greg Fillinganes. Greg Fillinganes was the musical director of the Vibe band. So basically he was the one who tied me in with Babyface. So we would shoot the Vibe show during the day, and once we wrapped on the Vibe show, we'd run over to Babyface and do the session after we finished the show. So yeah, Phil Collins happened to be in that batch of sessions that we did for Babyface. You know, some really great projects that I was able to connect with Face. Because, of course, he was hot at the time.
Was there one experience performing that just stands out because maybe it was who you were playing with, it was who you were playing before, it was, I don't know. You know, I was once at a show at the House of Blues on Sunset Boulevard. War was playing in the 90s, and a fire hydrant broke on Sunset Boulevard, and water came in and flooded the entire House of Blues, and we got evacuated in the middle of their show. Wow. So it could be something like that. But, you know, what stands out to you?
Okay. I got a funny one. Man, this has happened once and once only out of the thousands of performances. The band Lakeside they have a singer, one of the lead singers. You know, they had a front line of singers. One of the singers back in the 80s, mid 80s, left the band to go solo, to do a solo project. His name is Otis Stokes, right? So Otis had never recorded an actual project. He didn't have his own project out. You know, he just decided he wanted to go solo. He had made some demos, and then he was trying to like embark, get his thing going as Otis Stokes.
His own fantastic voyage. Yeah.
Very much so. Very much so. He's the falsetto voice of all of the Lakeside hits. You know, great kid, great guy. But okay, so and then I had started doing some things with Lakeside. Tease. We kind of connected with those guys, with Stephen Shockley, and as a matter of fact, Stephen Shockley Lakeside produced the second Tease album. That one was produced by Stephen Shockley of Lakeside. But anyway, Otis was our boy. So Otis had a manager, a French girl, and a girl out of Paris, and his manager did him a favor. The manager's cousin was promoting a Rod Stewart tour in Europe. And as a favor to Michelle, her cousin said, I will put Otis Stokes on as an opening act for Rod Stewart in Paris, France. And so this, of course, was a great opportunity for Otis Stokes. You know, so Otis called me. I need to put a band together. I got to go to Europe. I got a one show in Paris. So we put it together. We didn't play any Lakeside's music. It was just his demos, right? So we went and put about a 25-minute show together to open up for Rod Stewart. So we're in an arena. I'm talking about it's 20,000 people. Sold out. Rod Stewart fans. So, okay, we get the introduction, right? Onto stage. You know, French girl. S'il vous plaît, Otis Stokes. Nothing. There's 20,000 people in this arena. Yet, nothing. No claps, no anything. So we come out on stage. We play one song. You might hear. And then, okay, we count off the second song, right? And as we're starting the second song, I heard beep, like something. I just heard some kind of metallic. I don't know what it was. And then I heard beep, beep. And I'm sitting. The next thing you know, I'm starting to hear it more and more. I mean, it's starting to get like more. And before you know it, Scott, we were getting Coca-Cola canned off stage, bro. I'm talking about thousands of Coca-Cola cans being hurled at us. I was like, wait a minute, man, it's raining. It's raining Coca-Cola cans, bro. And some of them Coca-Cola cans had Coke in them. They weren't all empty. So I gotta say, of all of the thousands of times that I've been on stage, and out of all the experiences that I've been afforded, the Coca-Cola can off stage experience is probably the most memorable.
Wow. So you guys just went off stage?
Oh, get the hell, man. We had to get the hell out of there, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to take cover. We had to crawl. I was like, man, get out the best way you can. Because it's raining. It's raining Coca-Cola cans, bro.
Wow. Maybe you shouldn't feel too bad. I mean, I was there when Prince got, hit like that at the Coliseum opening for the Rolling Stones.
Oh, yeah, it was the same situation. It was like, it wasn't like, again, it was just bad pairing. Bad pairing. I mean, this guy had no business being in front of 20,000 people there to see Rod Stewart. Like, even if he were performing Lakeside songs, it just was not a good pairing. And man, we went all the way to Paris, France, from Los Angeles, to get booed and Coca-Cola canned off stage.
Wow. Well, you survived. You survived to tell the story, but that's incredible.
We didn't even get 2 songs done.
Wow,
It was over with, bro.
that's crazy, Corny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna put you on the spot. This wasn't, you weren't prepped, but let's see if you can roll with it. What if you can only have 5 albums, desert island albums, ones that you haven't played on, other people? What would be your 5 most influential or top albums that you'd have to have with you if it was only 5?
Okay. One for sure is the 1979, the band Pleasure did an album called Future Now.
Nate Phillips.
Oh, Big Nate, baby. Big Nate. Now, that is one of my all-time favorite records, man. You know, I mean, the funk level is so high and the bass thing, man. Nate Phillips. So nasty, bro. So, let's see, that's one. I'd have to say even Bootsy's first one. The name is Bootsy, baby.
Stretch it.
Oh, no. I'm talking about the Stretch It Out record. That would be 2.
I have, you can't see it. I have an autographed copy of it right there on the wall.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's huge. That's huge. Yeah. Man, I don't know the title of it, but it's the Graham Central Station album that has "Can You Handle It" on it. Like, this is like around 74.
Yeah.
74. It's probably Honey from the Ohio Players. That's 4. And then you got to throw in my boy with Jaco. That's Heavy Weather. The Heavy Weather album by Weather Report. You know, and I'd be good with those 5, bro.
Yeah, I'd be good too, man. Honey is Ohio Players are my first favorite group, and Honey is my favorite album by them.
Oh my God.
I got Fire up there, but Honey is the one, yeah.
Honey is the one, man, because see, not only did I like the funk out of the Ohio Players, man, they had beautiful ballads too. Really beautiful, nicely arranged, you know, like slower, like mid to slow tempo stuff, man. They were just a quintessential unit all the way around.
Yeah, and that one, Let's Love and Sweet Sticky Thing.
That's what I'm talking about. All that type of stuff, man. You know, they could jazz on you, they could slow it down, and definitely, you know, get nasty with it. You know?
Yeah. And that pleasure record, I mean, I think they were overlooked quite a bit. You know, they got kind of lost in the shuffle of Cameo and Confunction from Fire.
Yeah.
They were bad. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a you know, to me still, you know, I'm talking about bass lines and sonically. I'm talking about because I'm huge on sonics. I love stuff that like you know, that record still stands the test of time today from a sonic, you know, mix vantage point. That one and all of the Ohio Players stuff sounds as huge and massive today as anything.
What a difference it made for them and Funkadelic when they went from Westbound to major labels.
Absolutely,
you
man.
know, they got such better recording and quality and
yeah. It just expanded them, man. You know, but man, you know, all of those, it's all of these experiences, man. You know, and the one thing, man, that has made it all okay at the end of every day is that thing had funk on it. It always has funk on it, Scott. For me, I don't care what the scenario is, what the situation is, man. You know, I don't care. I love playing church now. I play at my church now when I'm in Los Angeles. And man, it's one of the funkiest environments in more recent times that you'll find. Man, we be smashing, bro. It gets so gritty at church.
I feel like so much of where the funk came from church, among, you know, like African rhythms and things like that, but it came from church, and then it really has gone back to church.
If you don't know, now you know, bro. That's exactly what it is. You know, the whole church, the gospel, African rhythms, you know, And so it all, man, when you go back into the music of, like even like in the early, like I'm talking about the blues, in the very root elements of the blues. Man, you listen to that stuff, man. I'm talking about when it was just a dude sitting on the porch with an old out of tune guitar, and he just, just stomping his foot,
It's
playing
funky, man.
Yeah, and see, there's a project that I've been involved with here in more recent times, and I've got to say, I'm super proud of this one, man. It's like the most successful project I've ever been involved in. So we've won 3 Grammys. We've actually put out 3 albums, and all 3 of them are Grammy Award winning. And the project is called Fantastic Negrito. Fantastic Negrito, man. And the category that we've won the Grammys in is Best Contemporary Blues Album. Right? So, they put it under a blues moniker or the umbrella of a blues project. And it is a blues project. Yes, it's quite bluesy, but man, I'm telling you, I'm all kind of funk up under it. I'm putting the funk, and then you got a lot of gospel inflection, a lot of church gospel inflection on the Fantastic Negrito, and it's grungy, like a grungy rock, like almost like Seattle grunge, So it is. If you ever get a chance, you should take a listen to Fantastic Negrito, man.
Definitely gonna take a listen. Yeah,
it's crazy. And
how did that project get off the ground?
Man, it was there's a brother in the front of it that he fronts it. His name is Xavier DeFrepeles. Xavier and I connected in LA in the early 2000s, around 03, 04. He and I started, I started doing bass sessions for him, and we just I could see he was an enigma of a talent, really different and unique and, kind of different. So he's a real workhorse. I mean, real, he's a grinder. So we ended up, doing countless recordings, and he would just package them up and put things out and try to release. And, he would reinvent and, change the name over and just kind of throwing things against the wall. Then he hit me up one day and said, man, Fantastic Negrito, I'm going to go with that. That's what it's going to be. So he put a batch of songs together. We put a band together and went and started just kind of grassroots performing around up and down between Los Angeles and the Bay Area. And under the moniker Fantastic Negrito, it just started to gain momentum, and now by this time, as we kind of got it going, social media played an incredible role in, just getting it out there. And before you know it, man, it just caught on, man. It just caught on. We did the first album in 2016, The Last Days of Oakland, and first album, first Grammy. Then we did another one called Please Don't Be Dead. And I think we did that one in 2018. Second record, second Grammy.
Sounds like a good title leading into the pandemic.
Yeah, man. And then we did the last one, man, third record, third Grammy. So we're 3 for 3.
Wow. Well, congratulations on that, man. That's cool.
Yeah, man.
Very
so
cool.
I'm really, really excited about that. And just being in the Grammy number, man. It's pretty amazing.
Congratulations.
Yes, brother.
What else do you have going on? What are you up to, and what might people see in the near future?
Well, man, I had another project that we got some really good, we didn't win the Grammy or the American Music Award, but we were nominated, for Album of the Year. I did a song, I co-wrote a song for, are you familiar with the artist? She goes by the moniker Her.
Oh yeah, she's awesome.
She's a bomb. She's a bomb.
She's a real musician. Yeah.
Oh, she's very, 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 very talented, man. Well, she's got a project out now called Back of My Mind. That's the name of the album. And that particular song, Back of My Mind, is I'm a co-writer. So that record went, and I mean, we made great noise. A lot of great recognition and visibility. But and of course we were nominated. We didn't win, but man, it's always good to even be in the nominated category. So that was what we did this year. But I've also got another movement, man, that I'm proud of too. Now I didn't mention this in the interview, but I've got to make mention of it because I'm proud of it. Man, with all the music successes that I've been at, the great things that I've been able to do musically, my life also took a horrendously bad turn in the area of drug addiction. Right through the 80s and the 90s and even into the new millennium, I struggled, man. So, I mean, I was able to get it turned around, and get on the winning side of it. But as a result of, I was only able to do it through, kind of from the spiritual standpoint, get a real spiritual lock in, and then recovery. I'm very vested in recovery, in the recovery arena. It's a very major part of my life even today. And something incredibly weird happened in the pandemic. I ended up connecting up with some people on Zoom right here, like on this very same platform. And I ended up writing a song, right? It motivated me. So I ended up putting a song together, and I'm the artist on it. I put it out on myself. And it's something that really, it's to encourage people. I'm not even monetizing it. I just put it together. I did a video on it and put the video out last year, and the thing is blown up. It's almost become like a theme song for recovery, and just like motivating people that may have struggled in that area, or if you struggle at all, man. This song is not necessarily just simply to the recovering addict or the person with addiction. Or put it this way, no matter what you may be addicted to or what you may struggle with, this song is applicable, and it's been like a real blessing, man. So I'm an artist now, the song is called Keep Walking Like You're Going Somewhere. Keep Walking Like You're Going Somewhere. It's on YouTube, I put it out last year, and then I ended up doing a little remake, and I actually hooked up with old school rap, hip hop legend Curtis Blow.
Oh yeah.
So Curtis Blow jumped. Yeah. Curtis Blow jumped on my remix, and so I got it. It gives it even more traction since I dialed Curtis Blow into it.
He's had some health challenges, I know.
Yes, he did, and so that's what kind of he had a heart transplant last year. So he really, when he heard the song, he was like, "Corny, man, I love this, man." And I'd worked with him back in the 90s, so we were great friends. So, yeah, so Keep Walking Like You're Going Somewhere is my personal platform that I'm pushing right now, and it's really a motivator, man, and super positive. And, I just want to help somebody that may need help, that may struggle. If you're struggling, man, I'm a witness that you can do it, man. If you got it, but you got to make a decision and then just keep going forward, man. That's what the song is all about.
That's fantastic. I'm really glad that you brought that forward, and so glad that you made it through those tough times. And
so that's kind of like my purpose, man.
Oh, credit to you, Corny, man. Good job.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
So how can people keep in touch with what you're up to and all that good stuff?
Well, man, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. The Instagram is Bomb Bass 1014. BOMBBASS 1014 is the Instagram. And then Cornelius Corny Mims on Facebook. And then I also have a website, cornymims.com. And you can see what's going on and keep up with me, man. I've been a little derailed, just kind of since I've been here in Providence and for the reason that I'm here. But I'm about to get back to California, man, soon, and kind of get back into things. I've got a great trip coming up at the end of the month. I'm going to do a show with Jeffrey Osborne in the Dominican Republic.
Wow,
Yes.
have you ever been there before?
Never. This will be my first time. So I'm going to the DR with Jeffrey, man. I'm leaving on April 28th. So I got to get back to Cali so we can rehearse. And I'm the musical director for this particular event. So yeah, it's going to be good to be back at rehearsal, getting back into the groove.
Wow, that's awesome. Is he playing some LTD songs also?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so some great bass lines, man.
Oh yeah, man, Back in Love. And yeah, we getting ready to, it's a whole 70s theme.
Yeah.
For this night. So
Borderlines comes to mind of his stuff with a cool bass line.
Sure, man. Sure. Yeah. So Jeff Osborne, LTD, we're getting ready to go do it out in the Dominican Republic.
Wow.
Yeah, man. So I'm excited.
Blessed. That's very, very cool.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, it's been so much fun talking to you, Corny. And
yes, sir. Appreciate it.
We got a few common threads, brother.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We were like in the same place at the same time, but just hadn't crossed officially until now.
Yeah.
And then I looked at your website and I saw, man, I know I have to do this because you've already talked to all my people. You've already had so many of my folks that I've grown up with. I was like, man, this makes all the sense in the world to me. I've got to do this.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you did. And
thank you so much for the opportunity, Scott. I really appreciate it.
I wish you continued good health and success.
Yes, sir.
Take good care.
Oh, man. Have a great weekend, man, and we'll talk again soon.
All right, Corny. Take care, man.
Bye, Scott. Take it easy, brother. Peace. Blessings.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Truth in Rhythm. A big thank you goes out to our guest as well as to you, the viewer and listener. Also, much gratitude to Pleasure for supplying the show's funky opening and closing music. As a reminder, you can always access the complete list of linked shows by episode at funkandstuff.net. I urge you to support this program and receive the extra benefits along with that by subscribing to the Funk and Stuff channel on YouTube and sharing it with funk, R&B, and jazz lovers, joining Truth and Rhythm's membership program at Patreon, submitting a donation at funkandstuff.net, buying Everything is on the One, the First Guide to Funk book at Amazon, shopping at the Funky Things store for cool merchandise at funkandstuff.net, and linking through funkandstuff.net for all of your Amazon purchases. In addition, if you're an artist or anyone seeking proven, results-oriented professional marketing, PR, writing, or editing consultation or production, check out the media services section at funkandstuff.net. Also, I encourage you to drop me a line at scottg@funkandstuff.net. I love the feedback, suggestions, guest requests, appearance and sponsorship inquiries, and just talking about my favorite subject, groove-based music. For now, and as always, this is Scott Dr. GX Goldfine saying, keep on vibing to the rhythm of the one.